1. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Good as Gold number 50. It's the big 5-0. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is a game from round number 3. It is a ZVT, and with me to cast it is the one, the only, Playham's Nostalgia Talix. Hello, sir. How are you?
Great. Like I said, the one, the only, but there's like 10 of us.
Are there really?
Yeah, there's myself, Zoya, Gwyn.
Oh,
Silence,
no. You're the one, the only Nostalgia Talix.
That's true. I am the only one that's Nostalgia Talix.
Exactly.
But, anyways, let's talk about this game. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of Condemned Ridge, we have as our purple Terran player, BaCoNSawce.
And we have to really quickly switch sides of their names. There we go. Sorry, please continue.
And in the top right-hand corner, as our pink Zerg player, we have Cal. Now, we could always use that word constantly throughout this game to make some interesting puns, like how he's going to calculate, what his next move may be. Or, that's actually all I have, so maybe that's not the best one to do. Anyways, Terran versus Zerg, we've basically seen almost every matchup today so far, and by that I mean not really. We've had a Zerg versus Protoss, a Terran versus Protoss, and now a Terran versus Zerg. All that we're missing is Zerg versus Protoss.
Indeed, and that seems to be a really common matchup these days. When I initially got into StarCraft several months ago, I was delighted to find out that Terran were the dominating race, because that's who I played in StarCraft 1. But sadly, their day seems to have come almost to a close. I know MVP is the most recent GSL champion, but I think he's kind of an exception to the rule. Right now, we have a lot of players doing well. I don't know if you ever catch... got a pause there. 1 sec, out of Cal. I don't know, Nostalgia Talix, if you ever get a chance to catch the Code S stuff, GSL?
Oh, I do, is once in a while when I can. But yeah, there's quite a lot of really great Terrans who comes out of the GSL.
Definitely.
Not just MVP.
No, definitely. And last night, though, there was a Zerg player, Symbol, who just killed
TSL
Marine
Symbol.
King.
Symbol has been on fire a lot lately. I mean, he did do that all kill against IM probably about a week and a half ago at the GSTL, and he's just been on fire lately. A lot of the great Zergs have been on fire. Symbol, Dongregu recently winning his MLG Spring Championships in Anaheim, California. Symbol actually also... No, was it Symbol? I think it was. Symbol winning the GESL over the weekend? Now I've completely forgotten.
No, that was...
taken in third place.
Oh, now I gotta look at
that. No, that was Monster.
Yeah, MVP's Monster.
But there's another great Zerg.
And weren't all the semis and the finals all ZVZs in the GESL?
I think so, yeah, because it had Monster, then it had... Ooh, who's in second now? It's already over the weekend, and I can't quite remember.
I know, but there was a lot of good StarCraft this weekend.
Oh, that was great. And then, of course, over at the DreamHack, Damaga making it to the finals.
With that really interesting style.
That's just Damaga for you. I actually had a chance recently to cast a Damaga versus White Rosho match, and that was a lot of fun. It's always great when you get to cast those two playing against each other, because it's not only good-mannered, but it's like all lighthearted casting as well.
Everything's just kind of fun. I'm kind of jealous you got to cast White Raw. He's kind of the grandfather of StarCraft, really, at this point.
Yeah, well, he is definitely one of the oldest people. I also got a chance to talk with him and have them on my Skype now, so it's like a huge honor for me. Because I'm a caster first, but I'm definitely like a fanboy second, third, and fourth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, well, into this game, we see that Cal has scouted BaCoNSawce up here in the top left-hand corner. That Marine had an opportunity to kill off that one drone. Unfortunately, was missing it as he was not paying attention to that minimap. And it looks like BaCoNSawce is going for that early command center.
Indeed he is. Let's see what else he's going to do. He's just got the Marines spread out pretty nicely. So basically a one racks, no gas, FE style.
Yeah, that's actually one of the strongest things. I love watching a lot of these lower league players actually doing this. I mean, in the lower leagues, it's a little bit more common to find things like cheese, but the more players get comfortable doing this kind of thing, I find the better that they are at eventually moving out and getting higher leagued.
Exactly.
So
And
going
what
for that one Rax gasless expand, very, very powerful play from a Terran. Of course, an alternately would be, one base, but then you go earlier reactored Hellions into Banshees, but that's been a lot less effective ever since the update where Queens got a range upgrade from 3 to 5. Hellions have just had a harder time getting in there, doing damage, and denying creep spread.
Definitely couldn't agree with you more. And one thing that is important, as you mentioned, at this level, BaCoNSawce doing it already. The cheese is pretty common, even if you think you scouted well. That bunker is pretty cheap to refund to yourself later on. Go ahead and at least build the one. Be safe, play intelligently, give yourself a chance to get that economic lead because you went with a fast expansion. You see that our Zerg is already behind us. He's only about 3/4 of the way done with his hatchery, and this command center is completed, and there goes a transfer of a few SCVs. Could probably transfer a few more just in case an early attack comes, so they'll be able to pull and to repair. Also, you'll note that the bunker is placed back from the ramp, so that the bunker has an opportunity to fire upon things that come up to it. If it was at the edge where you see a lot of lower level players put their bunkers, then the vision for the bunker only extends to the bottom of the ramp, not past it, and it is not as effective as it can be.
Well, there's actually a lot of different things. Condemned Ridge, I know at a higher league, a lot of players actually don't like this map simply because of how big the natural tends to be south of the
It
gas.
is
You
huge.
don't tend to see that very often, and for Terran players especially, they have somewhat of a hard time trying to find exactly where they want to place that bunker. Now, there are different opportunities to do different things. Like you were saying, you could put it towards this ramp, but that ramp is really huge, and it does make it early game easy for Zerglings to get a lot of run-bys right up into that main. But you can wall that off, of course, with supply depots. You can put it where it is currently, and that gives a pretty good defense of not only the gas, but the natural itself. The problem is, it doesn't defend this ramp up to the main very well. Zerglings can get a pretty good run past it. The alternate solution, of course, would be to put it halfway between the command center and the ramp, and then build supply depots to the left, doing kind of the half wall here.
Right.
And that does defend a little bit better early game against Zerglings running up to the main. It still does defend the orbital command a little bit, but at the same time, you can then take the bottom side of this and do a lot of production out of that as well. So that's why you see this map. The name is pretty large, but it's not as large as some of the other maps, and that's why that natural is a little bit larger.
I know this does feel a lot like the Nerazine Crypt main, though. There just is a huge amount of area to lay down buildings, which is really comfortable for Terrans. A lot of time, there's a lot of decision making about where you place your buildings at a higher level. At this level, it's really just like make the building before
Yes.
you need it. That's the key. We also see BaCoNSawce with his supply depot over here, giving himself some vision of the outside area in case an overlord tries to slip in and get a peek. He might have a chance to see it and run some marines in. He does not have vision of the low ground over here, which may come back to hurt him a little bit. However, our Zerg player with a nicely positioned overlord at the bottom. However, he's playing against Terran, and he's got a juicy ramp area right here where that drop could be happening in a few moments' time. One with siege tech so far. That medevac, now there it goes, is being produced.
Yep. Actually, I just want to touch on a little something that you had
Please.
said a little bit earlier about building placement, but the more important thing is just getting it down at this league. And I would actually say that probably the most important thing for anybody who wants to learn how to get better at StarCraft, and if they're in bronze, silver, or gold, and they just can't figure out why they can't move on, it doesn't really matter what it is you build. Just spend every dollar that you have. Like, if you can keep your minerals and your gas low because you're constantly producing and upgrading, you're building all these different buildings, that's a good way to help you get started because all of a sudden you realize that you have a lot more things to defend or attack with.
Exactly, it's very true. When you see players floating at a pretty high mineral count like this, if you ever pay attention to a pro game, you'll notice they only do this when they're about to double expand or because they're already maxed. That's
Yeah.
about the only times, unless they're, say, Huck. He's one player who his micro is so insane and requires so much of his APM that you'll see his macro slip, and yet he'll still win. But I don't think any of us are at that level. If we are, please drop me a line so I can remember your name.
All right, now talking a little bit about what's happening so far in this game, Cal has not actually taken that third expansion, so he is going to be going on mostly a 2 base. However, he's got a lot of roaches, already 16 being already made, 10 more in production by the time this attack comes. Now, this is a large attack. However, you know, the Marines, they only have 2 medevacs there, so the Roaches can pick them off quite quickly. It's a matter of seeing how quickly he gets that stim off and how quickly he gets those sieges or tank siege to see just how much damage is going to be done. All right, he scans that. He sees how much of an army there is. All right, Cal has got a...
He's in range.
Hold position, that's for sure.
Could have leapfrogged those a little farther forward. Nope, decides not to. Got a third tank showing up. That'll be quite helpful. Does he have a fourth tank on the way somewhere?
It's in production right now. He does actually not have one quite yet, but it will be coming. 4 tanks is obviously a really great number to have against Roaches. You get constant firing, basically, and large splash areas. So Cal's got to find a place where he wants to engage at this point. He does have a lot of Roaches, and I like that he's actually getting that armor upgrade and a lot more Zerglings. Zerglings will help get this around on some of those Marines as well as get right down there and hit those tanks.
Oh, that tank position.
All right, the Zergling's actually trapped here in the back from Cal. It looks like BaCoNSawce is shooting right through this army. BaCoNSawce moved way too far forward just so he could try to take up some of those Marines.
Belated stutter step that really would have been a lot more decisive if that had happened a little bit sooner for BaCoNSawce. Now Cal is perhaps a little depressed that he lost, so he's going to sacrifice all those drones, and BaCoNSawce enjoys them with a little bit of his patented winning sauce.
Yeah. Expect GG any